Can y'all hear me now? Can y'all hear me now? Okay. So what I was hear me now? There's like a rollback too. Oh my gosh. Hello. Are these just not on? There's like a rollback too. Oh my gosh. Hello. Are these just not on? There's like a rollback too. My headphones just weren't on. I think it's all fixed. My headphones just weren't on. I think it's all fixed. No, it's not. I'm lying. My headphones just weren't on. Oh my gosh. Please hold, everybody.
How about now? I think we're good now. Cool. So the topic today is what is holding me back from expressing my authentic self. This was actually a subscriber request. I have a list of topic ideas from people that are subscribed to Patreon, and I realized recently I'm never going to get through all of them. So I thought I would kind of pick here and there for certain stream readings just in case I don't have a topic, to go in with. So it's still a little early. I'm going to give it a couple more minutes and then we will jump into today's read. How was everybody's week so far? Hopefully better than last week. That one was a doozy. My sleep schedule is flipped and you're feeling in limbo. I feel a rebirth happening. You have a lot of people from the past coming back. And it's right when I think I finally found someone I enjoy. Like, what the heck? I don't really have an answer for that. Personally, as someone who's in a relationship, people from my past pop up and I don't engage, nor do I fall into a cycle of thinking about the why of it all. So perhaps it's not so much about the relationship you have, but more about why do you care? And I say that with love, okay? Like, no shade whatsoever, but perhaps you need to unpack, is the relationship that you're in actually one that you want to be in, or are you just trying to fill some sort of a void? I know. Okay, y'all. I'm seeing a duck in my mind's eye. They actually wanted me to start with astral dice today, which is interesting. because I don't know that we've done that. Please hold. I haven't posted on either of my Instagrams in a very long time, so I'm going to post a little bit of a summer dump about my life, I think. But I don't know. Okay. No shade taken. You're asking yourself the same question. That's valid then. I'm feeling a little better, but like vacations are never really vacations. You know what I mean? Like you always end up having to do a bunch of stuff, which I loved everything that I did last week, but like I'm still tired. I think I need like a decade off of doing like nothing, just sleeping all the time. Just sleeping. I feel like I have some sleep debt that I'm either not consciously aware of or I need to get caught up on. But yeah. I need to save people's phone numbers. Anyway. I look radiant. Well, thank you. I did have a good week off. It was great. I also didn't take a full week. I only took like content, so I like it was more like a social media break. I was still doing personal client readings, which was nice, but like I'm still tired. So I don't know. I think I just need some early bedtimes coming forward. I can hear my cat yelling in the hallway. But it was a good week. I went to a concert. I saw some family. I did a lot, actually. I went to like a really cool antique thrift store, more like a mall. I thrifted. You know, I did have a couple days of doing nothing, which was nice, but anywho, I'm going to start with the astral dice. So before we get into it, first thing I want to mention, as always, if you guys are Amazon Prime members, please remember that you can subscribe through your Prime and you don't have to pay the membership fee. Also, please remember that subscriptions and watching the ads helps to support me, which in turn helps to do more of these in the future. All right, so today's topic is pinned to the top of the chat. It's also on the description underneath my username. So this is what is holding me back from expressing my authentic self. When I was first drawn to this particular topic, the very first thing I kept hearing on repeat was fear. So for a lot of you, what is blocking you from being your authentic self is fear. Okay, a fear of being seen, a fear of being judged, a fear of just being you. Interesting. Y'all have South Node and North Node coming up in this spread. One could even argue that it's mostly double South Node, but I'm seeing both, and I feel like there's a reason for that. We also have Sagittarius and Virgo energy coming forward. So others of you, part of what could be blocking you from being your authentic self is perfectionism, okay? Virgo energy, why is that wet? Virgo energy to me, I always equate to perfectionist energy. Like as a Virgo moon, I have a tendency to want things to be a very specific way. And that could be a bit of a blockage for some of y'all. Maybe there's a part of you that you like things to fit into a certain aspect, a category, a box, if you will. And I feel like this is blocking you. Excuse me. Something about first house energy. So your first house could be in one of these zodiacs placements. Confirmation. It doesn't necessarily have to be, though. And then, like I said, we have North and South Node. So here's the South Node. And the North Node, which, hello? Why did I turn the dice away from it? And the North Node. South, North. So it's interesting because both of these kind of equate to our purpose. They tie into, you know, our fulfillment and what we desire our purpose to look like. So if we were looking at this through the North Node perspective, this is all about your soul's purpose, like I'd mentioned. It's evolutionary growth. This kind of shows us where we may have some untapped talent, where there's like potential that we're not fully tapping into. It helps us to kind of see the lessons of our life in a bigger picture way, which then helps us to kind of open up to new experiences and shift ourselves forward. This is usually equated to like ultimate fulfillment kind of energy and your destiny. Whereas the South Node is a little bit different. It's kind of the opposite, right? So the South Node is about our past life patterns or our current life patterns, take it however it resonates. It's about karmic debt. It's about our inherent talents. It's about the habits that we may have that are from a comfort zone and, you know, the box that we've put ourselves into once again. And I feel like this causes us to not necessarily recognize all of the karmic baggage that we might be holding on to. But South Node energy comes forward to be like, oh, you're not looking at this baggage, we're going to put it in your face. This can also symbolize familiar experiences, potential stagnation, and then also, I don't know how else to put this, but like a default setting. So it's like your life is kind of in limbo, oftentimes with South Node. And it's interesting that we have the South Node with this North Node because they're kind of polar opposites. So it's almost as though some of you are experiencing stagnation, but you're on the cusp of something great. And I feel like that cusp energy is what's catapulting you forward. It's what's pushing you to kind of move yourself. But there is still this fear underneath of all of that. And I think it's interesting that these two are coming out today because, like, all of this is about being our authentic self, right? Like, the topic in question is what is holding me back? So this kind of reiterates what I had mentioned about fear. And it also gives another layer that, like, some of you, there's a pattern that you need to acknowledge that's holding you back from being your authentic self. It's holding you back from stepping into your power or embracing your authenticity, is what I just heard. Especially because now we're going to go into this first house energy. And your first house is all about yourself. It's about you. Okay, so it's about your vessel. It's about the self. It's about, your self-expression or your appearance. It's about your presence. It's about your personality, your body, your identity, like who you are underneath. And I think it's really interesting that this is coming forward with not only that North and South Node energy, but also the message itself with the reading today. It's like a lot of y'all want to be a more authentic version of yourself. You want to step into who you are, but there's a blockage. Especially because, like, both of these zodiac signs can have some issues with perfection. Excuse me, confirmation. I just choked on nothing. So that's confirmation to me. Like, so both of these zodiac signs can struggle with perfectionism. I'm also hearing some sort of specific message surrounding how you see yourself in the world. Spirit could be encouraging you to kind of hone in on that. Something about like a pale pink. A pale pinky color. I'm also seeing something about tacos. I don't know. I'm also being guided to remind y'all, please wear your sunscreen. Sunscreen is your biggest skincare item. It is your biggest piece of skincare in your arsenal. I'm not really one of those people that believes in like fighting aging, but like sunscreen is one of those things that is going to help you substantially if you are trying to combat the aspects of aging. Anyway, I digress. So something about, did anyone ever read the book, like the Zodiac books? I've never read them, but there's something that they just came to my mind. I don't even know who they're by. I don't even know if that's what they're technically called. So Virgos can also be really sensitive. They tend to be very analytical, very service-oriented kind of energy. They're showing me a deer for some reason in my mind's eye, so there could be something correlating towards deers. I don't know. Take that however it resonates. Sagittariuses are also really emotionally open. They're really emotionally honest. They're very free-spirited. However, they tend to need a lot of space. I don't know why, but I just saw like balance, like the scales in my mind's eye. Which does make sense because both these zodiac signs do kind of appreciate a more balanced approach. Something about too much focus on compatibility with astrology signs. I like to remind y'all that like nothing is set in stone in life, and just because you might have a certain zodiac sign that may not be compatible with a certain other zodiac sign doesn't necessarily mean you can't coexist in a relationship. Okay? It's not an all or nothing mentality. Also, our natal charts, our astrological charts, are made up of so many different zodiac signs that the idea that we can't be with, like, I don't know, this is just the top of my head. The idea that Aquarius can't be with Cancers just because they aren't compatible doesn't make sense, because your entire zodiac sign is not going to be all Aquarius and theirs isn't going to be all Cancer, or the other way around. So it's almost like this collective needs to remember that just because you may not fit the mold doesn't necessarily mean they can't be a part of your life. This could be friendships or romantic partnerships. Just because you don't align a certain way doesn't mean it doesn't fit. Just a gentle reminder. I'm also seeing something about Pisces. And then what the heck is the other one that I'm seeing? Taurus? I'm going to have to go look 1 second. Taurus is Taurus. So Pisces and Taurus could also be significant for today. All right. So normally we would pull from an oracle deck and then we would use tarot to clarify it. But today I actually have not been drawn to any oracle cards. So I think we're just going to go with the flow of what the energy is showing. And we are going to use this deck here. I immediately saw this one in my mind's eye. So there could be some sort of significance to high vibrational energy, colorful aura. Maybe you're also radiating. Maybe you're shifting to a higher frequency. I don't know. I have not been keeping up with the chat. I'm so sorry. I agree. There are always lessons that you're going to learn from people in your life. I also I don't know. I think the concept that, like, you can't be with someone because their zodiac sign doesn't align with yours is just kind of backwards. But anyway, I digress. So, excuse me. Oh my god, I'm still kind of choking. Crazy. Throat chakra could be of significance for this particular group. Maybe you're feeling a little bit of a blockage in your throat chakra. Maybe you have one. I don't know. Something about a book of shadows. There is a big difference between a grimoire and a book of shadows. A grimoire is going to be more organized. It's going to be more together. Okay, whereas a book of shadows is going to be a little bit more scattered. A book of shadows tends to be where witches put their practices, they put their rituals, etc., whereas a grimoire is going to have the information they need for said practice. It can also be the other way around, okay, but there's something about a book of shadows. I don't know, but let's see. Wow, that was fast. What in the is that song? I haven't heard that since junior frickin' high school. Booty, 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 rockin' everywhere. I found you. Bro, I have not heard this since junior high school. It is called Miss New Booty. And it is by Bubba Sparks and the Yin Yang Twins. Just saying. I have no idea why I just started channeling that, but there could be a message in that song for someone. Something about the beach, something about a surfboard, and something about a flame. I'm now hearing that, like, a moth to a flame saying. Hello. I'm hearing something about, like, a cliff's edge. Some of you are on the edge of something. You're on the cusp of something. I'm hearing something real, something great. There's also something about, like, how her hair is kind of flowing in the wind. I don't know. I'm now hearing that Lady Gaga song, I'm on the edge of glory. Na, 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 na. If somebody wouldn't mind putting the names of the songs that are channeled in the chat, that would be super duper helpful for me. Interesting. Okay. So we have the Six of Cups. These all came out together. Okay, we have the Six of Cups. We have the Five of Pentacles. And we have the Hanged Man. And it was like this with the Six of Cups. So the Hanged Man is kind of sandwiched in the middle of these two cards. And I was asking for clarification of the Three of Wands. And I feel like this is confirmation. It's like, hello. This particular collective, you are in the process of letting something go from your past, something big. Because the Six of Cups is here, I feel like this is connected to your childhood. And if I had to hazard a guess with that Five of Pentacles, it ties into poverty and depression. So I feel like this particular collective, you grew up in a really toxic environment, in an environment that you were very neglected. Okay, so you probably spent a lot of your time alone. I feel like you struggled with mental health issues, but a lot of your family didn't recognize that. And I do feel like part of that is because of the time that you grew up in, unfortunately. If you are my age range, older, or even a little bit younger, a lot of us were taught that mental health was quote unquote bad. And maybe not so much my generation, but the one above, because if you were to talk about mental health in our parents' generation, you would have been put in a loony bin. So I feel like there was something about how this particular group struggled with a lot of darkness. And I do feel like for the majority of you, you grew up in poverty. So there was a toxic aspect of the poverty mindset, as well as just kind of having a lot of depression symptoms, anxiety symptoms, a lot of issues that came from mental health struggles that could have been easily, worked through had you had the right tools. But I feel like part of what this particular group is currently kind of recognizing is that you do not need to live in this narrative anymore. You do not need to put yourself in this bubble. You don't need to put yourself in this box. It is okay to let go of this trauma, is what I'm hearing. Especially because traditionally the Hanged Man to me is about surrendering. It's about letting go. It's about opening up to a new perspective and releasing. And because of this imagery, I feel like that's exactly what's happening for this group. You are currently letting go of this kind of combination here. You're recognizing that first and foremost, you're not alone in life. And secondly, you don't need to fight your battles alone anymore. You don't need to kind of heal in silence. You can heal out loud. You have support. And I feel like the other side of this too, for those of you that do struggle with finances, I feel like there's an element of this that you are finally letting go of some baggage surrounding poverty that's actually helping you to draw in more abundance. It's helping you to kind of like manifest your heart's desires, is literally what I'm hearing. Do you feel this correlates to one of the latest readings you did? Honestly, no. I don't remember any of the readings that I do, my love. I think that a lot of the time we need to just take the readings that we're receiving from a perspective of this is the message right now and not trying to tie it into anything else. Because when you're doing that, you're ultimately kind of in a cycle of overthinking and chasing. And it might even be beneficial for you to kind of take a step back from readings, because readings are supposed to be a benefit in the moment, but they're not supposed to kind of like guide you forward in life. Does that make sense? I don't know how to explain that. There's something like deeply healing here. And it's interesting because they're now pulling me to like the imagery on this card where there's like this key in the corner, right? And then there's this lock. I kind of feel like it's almost as if Spirit is saying, you have the key to open this new doorway, but you have to let go of this energy here in order to do that. Especially like because these are two, like these all came out together with this one in the middle, right? So this is really symbolic to me. I really feel like a lot of you are in this position where you need to surrender something. You're either already in the process of surrendering or you need to do so currently. Something about runes could be important here. They're showing me Othala and then Thrash. Please hold. I told y'all. It's like the more you recognize this is in your head, the more abundance you're calling in. It's also interesting that that Queen of Pentacles is going right on top of the Three of Wands and the Six of Cups. So it's confirmation to me that first and foremost, a lot of you are already in the position of the Queen of Pentacles, but it's confirmation that the more you kind of allow things to come to you, you wait and see, the more abundance is going to manifest. But I feel like there is a pattern from your childhood or your past that is asking to be acknowledged so that you can break free this cycle. That was a weird way to word that. So Othala is about heritage, tradition, inheritance, ancestral property, and family ties. It is about gaining and holding on to wealth, which I was just going to say, if I were to look at any rune as abundance is coming, this would be one of them. It's about healing and promoting harmonious family relationships. So I feel like because the Six of Cups is here and we've talked about like your childhood, I do feel like a lot of you are currently in this position where you're healing something from your childhood, some sort of wounding. There's clarity about yourself and about the bigger picture with this particular rune, and it also can symbolize connection to your ancestors. I'm also seeing something about a luck increase, like positive. They're showing me like an arrow pointing upward. I don't know. And then the other one I'm seeing is called THURISAZ. This is about protection. It can be a bit of a warning. It's contemplations, it's decisions, it's luck, like I just mentioned. And I feel like the luck aspect is positive, okay? This can also symbolize defense magic, protection magic, help with making bigger decisions, and then once again, good luck energy. So I feel like because I'm seeing something significant around money, I do feel like for some of you there is an increase in finances coming forward, an increase in financial stability. Maybe you're just being a little bit more practical with the money that you already have. It doesn't necessarily need to be like you have an influx of money coming in, though that could be the case for some of you. I feel like the majority of this group, this is actually more about learning how to manage your money more accordingly so that you can kind of be in this position of the Queen of Pentacles without fear of losing it. This is about healing a wound from, once again, childhood and recognizing that you can hold on to your wealth. Something about mistletoe. So Christmas could be significant for this group this year. We also have the Chariot. Something about the black and white horses are really pulling me in. And then we have, hello, the Five of Swords reversed. Interesting. Resolving some sort of a conflict is definitely unfolding for some of you. Remember, this conflict could be internal. It doesn't need to be external. But there's something healing in the air, is what I'm hearing, which just made me think of that Phil Collins song, In the Air Tonight. The Chariot can sometimes manifest as resolving a conflict, and because we have this Five of Swords in the reverse position, I'm really getting that energy. Someone you had a bit of a falling out with. This could have been an argument. It could have been some tension. It could have been like a friendship breakup or a romantic breakup. There was just a fight here, okay? And whatever this was symbolic of, I feel like they're showing me like a blood drawn. It's like this could have been a pretty rough argument. There's a really loud noise behind me. We had to check on it. All is good here. This could have been a really rough argument, and I kind of feel like that was confirmation. It's like it's like swords were drawn. I feel like part of this actually could have correlated towards like one of you seeing things in a bit of a black and white way, and the other one not being willing to kind of see outside of the box. And something caused some pretty big tension in this dynamic between the two of you. This could have been a family member, a father figure. It could have been a friend, a romantic partner. Please take it however it resonates, okay? But even a boss for some of you. Something has shifted though, okay? I feel like there's an opportunity for this to be resolved. I don't know why I just heard the word null and void, but there is a part of you that needs to come to terms with some sort of truth within yourself. It's interesting because I feel like all of this is going to align you with your authentic self. So it's almost like the more you kind of unpack that trauma with the Five of Pentacles, the more you surrender, the more you let go, the more you're starting to kind of recognize where you've been holding yourself back from embracing who you truly are. Something about a red pill tactic? I don't know. We have the Knight of Cups. There's something about opening more up to your creativity. Now, one other thing I do want to mention, even though I do see like a making of amends, a resolving of a conflict, this could even be a conflict within yourself, my love, okay? But there's something surrounding resentment that needs to be acknowledged before this can be fully healed. And then we have the Hierophant as I'm saying that. Interesting. I just got goosebumps. Something about like that fish that's like a symbol for certain churches. I can never remember what ones. I'm also being really drawn to like a white horse energy. Converse, like black and white specifically. Black and white high top Converse. I'm also seeing red grapes. And then they're showing me something about an envelope. So something about like a mail. Something is in the mail. I feel like you're upgrading. Like there's something about like an energetic upgrade here. The Hierophant to me is all about higher knowledge. It's about higher learning. It's about our spiritual wisdom and how we allow that. So I feel like for some of you, there's something correlating towards like some spiritual knowledge that's helping you to kind of move upward. Especially because in this particular image, I'm always drawn to the stairs. And a lot of y'all have heard me say this before, but I see stairs and a ladder as a spiritual upgrade. Something about an eye twitch. I'm also seeing something about like someone with a really big smile. Do you know what I mean? Like a really big smile. I'm trying to think of someone in the like entertainment industry that I could reference. The only person I keep seeing is like my friend who passed away a handful of years ago. He had like this big ass smile. Hello, Connor. But there's something about like bliss coming into this collective's life. It's almost like for those of you, I honestly feel like part of this like conflict that's being resolved is actually tied to your finances and your childhood. So it's almost like as you heal this wound within yourself, not only do you shift into a more authentic version of you, but you open up more to your creativity and your spirituality. And I feel like that's actually helping you to kind of shift your life forward in a direction that you may not necessarily see quite yet. As I'm holding the star card at the bottom of the deck too, that's kind of crazy. And this is the Four of Swords reversed. There is definitely a need for this collective to take some time to rest, okay? When the Four of Swords shows up in the reverse position, this is a huge omen of exhaustion and burnout. So part of the reason that you're feeling stagnation, part of the reason that your life is not moving in the direction that you want it to is because you are burnt out. It is time for you to take some time to rest, recalibrate your energy so that you can bring these positive attributes forward. Underneath of this Ace of Wands that was poking out is literally the Queen of Cups, and underneath of that was the Ten of Swords. So I'm telling y'all, there's some stuff that you need to acknowledge from your past. This could be your childhood, this could be like young adulthood, take it however it resonates. But the more you let go of these old wounds, the more you're going to naturally and organically shift into your authentic self. But I do feel like there is a need for this collective to make sure that they're giving themselves a little bit more TLC than usual, meaning like spending a little bit more time on self-care, resting a little bit more often. I'm also seeing some of y'all exercising. There's just something about trying to fight the energy of burnout and needing to do so through activity. I don't know. All right. Do we have another deck, Spirit? Of course. It's this one, of course. Could you chill? Something about a milestone. We have sun, strength, and empowerment. I'm also seeing something about palm trees, which just made me think of that song, Pound Cake by Drake, potentially, question mark? Yeah, I think it's called Pound Cake. I'm sorry, my love, these are collective readings only. If you want a personal reading, you would have to book it through my website. There's some sort of avoidance here. So some of you are actually avoiding that work that we just touched on. You're avoiding unpacking something around yourself. You're avoiding feeling some feelings even. I don't know, take it however it resonates, but there's something that's actually creating stagnation in your life. So remember, we started today's reading by talking about the north and south nodes, right? So that south node energy pointed out stagnation. So some of you are currently in this position where you're not allowing yourself to see, you're not allowing yourself to kind of move forward. And I feel like it's actually creating a blockage. It's creating stagnation. There's no other way to put it. And I feel like part of what it's actually blocking is this positive energy over here. There's something about feeling more empowered within yourself. Maybe that's part of what you're avoiding. You're avoiding feeling powerful. Something about March 4th. I don't know. I also just saw March 3rd. So 4th or 3rd or 4th, I should say. Yeah. Perhaps part of what you're avoiding is a decision. Maybe there's a choice that you need to make that's a little bit challenging. I'm hearing, should I stay or should I go? Should I move forward or should I move on? And I feel like you need to be honest with yourself about whatever this is. This says truth and expression. Others of you, on a side note, you're avoiding expressing some sort of truth to someone. I don't know. You're trying to make a decision on how to do that. I'm seeing for some of you, there's a part of you that you need to vocalize truth in some capacity. This could be to somebody, it could be to yourself. I do feel like for those of you that it is to another person, you're questioning whether or not it's better to just cut this person off or if it is worth, expressing your feelings. I feel like a lot of you have a tendency to be a bit avoidant, and when it comes to your feelings, you would rather just run away from the situation than express it, which is coming from a fear of conflict. And I feel like part of what this situation is trying to show you is that you need to be honest not only with yourself, but this individual. Because ultimately, my lovely, you are blocking yourself from some beautiful stuff because you're not willing to speak up. You're not willing to use your voice. I'm seeing something about green eyes. So then we have freedom, leap, and opportunities. This is Uranus energy. I really do feel like once you make this choice, whatever this choice looks like for you, once you make this decision, you are going to feel so free. And it's actually going to help you to leap into the unknown in a way that you are not even fully capable of understanding quite yet. And I feel like this leap is going to help you to attract so much more opportunities in many different forms, by the way, not just like abundance wise. I'm hearing this could be romantic opportunities, it could be new friends coming forward, obviously career opportunities. But I feel like in order for this to come in, you need to be honest about something. And I feel like this is something that you might have been dreaming about as of recently. Oftentimes our dreams are going to show us what we are avoiding consciously, or it's going to show us what we are avoiding blatantly. Yeah, but I do feel like your spiritual team is assisting you through this. They're trying to help you through the fog. I'm hearing trying to help you better understand. We have something about winter rebirth energy. Some of you could be a winter baby because I did mention something about March. Yeah, and then we have self-worth, temptation, which came out, deception, temptation, which came out with self-worth expectations. Something about the winter could have opened some truth up for you. Forced you to recognize your lack mindset, forced you to kind of recognize the deception around. I do also kind of feel like part of whatever you are struggling to express actually correlates back to your self-worth. It correlates back to like a wound of fear, ultimately. Yeah. That is all I have for today, apparently. Something about not seeking without answer. What? I don't know what that means, but okay. It is called Pound Cake by Drake. I haven't heard that in forever. Do we have any questions? You're awesome. No questions. That's so sweet. Thank you. Well, if that's the case, I'm going to hop off a little early. What did you say earlier about something red? I have no idea. I'm so sorry. I don't really pay attention to what I'm channeling. You can always rewatch. Or maybe it wasn't for you. If you didn't hear it and I don't remember, perhaps it wasn't meant to be yours. But with all that being said, y'all, I'm probably going to hop off because we are finished. Finite, if you will. We will be back on Thursday for the afternoon stream at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I cannot guarantee we'll be doing a collective reading. We're going to see how the rest of the week goes. But yeah, we'll be back then. I hope you guys have a good rest of your week from now until then. And I will see you when I see you.